right, welcome back to another episode of the Heart Podcast. My name is Jagraj Singh Lalli, and joining me today on the show is someone that I've gotten to know very well over the last few years. I went from calling his games to now being able to work with him. This is Matthew Stewart, captain of the Richmond Sockeyes, and I've always called you Cap, Matthew. So it's gonna take me some getting used to call you something else. But how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to do this. I've been great.
Awesome, awesome. So before we get into the sort of hockey atmosphere of things, hockey type of things, just how has the off season treated you? How have you been able to spend your time?
The off season's been great. Honestly, it was a pretty quick turnaround for me after the season ended. A little bit of rest for the body as needed, obviously, but then I kind of just jumped right back into preparing for this next year and in my new role and trying to help the Sockeyes every way I can.
And when we sort of talk about, let's go back to the first day. Let's go back to the first day that Matthew fell in love with the sport of hockey. Just tell me what was it like?
Honestly, I probably can't even remember the exact day it started. I've always been playing my whole life. I started skating when I was 3 years old. My mom was a huge hockey fan, so she put me in skating lessons right away and kind of got me into the game. But a certain memory that sticks out to me is at our old house we had a hallway that led right into the family room, and there was kind of the couch right off the hallway there. And I used to play. I'd bring my stick in and I'd play up and down the hallway. So I'd have to throw a sock over the blade so I wouldn't carve up the floors. And you could always, there's a video of me standing there, shaking back and forth, singing the national anthem. I would be jumping over the couch as if it was the boards, playing the games. And I think kind of just from a very young age, fell in love with the game, watching the NHL and just playing from such a young age. And it just grew on from there.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, the mannerisms as to which this sport of hockey is played and kind of being so creative as to creating your own hockey atmosphere despite being at such a young age. You started skating, you made mention from the very young age of 3. Where did your journey playing, just playing at the junior level, playing competitively begin?
So I started playing when I was in South Delta minor hockey here. I right away was put into skating lessons here in South Delta. Grew up in the South Delta Minor Hockey Association and played there for the majority of my years. I never went to an academy or things like that for that bantam kind of year. I was drafted out of South Delta by the Vancouver Giants out of my bantam, my second year in bantam hockey. And then I left South Delta and went and played for the Greater Vancouver Canadians. Played there for 3 years, and then switched right from there to the Sockeyes. And I was fortunate enough to always stay with the Sockeyes my full 4 years of junior.
And I mean, we talk about GVC as well. I know that your time spent at GVC also still holds a very special place in your heart just because of the people that you had a chance to play with as well. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it was a good 3 years. The third year, unfortunately, was a lot of COVID and things like that. So not much of a third year for me. But the first 2 years, I think it was a lot of a learning process for me. I was at that kind of young age where you really start to kind of mature both as a person and a player. And it was my first taste of a lot of travel hockey and minor hockey. You don't have those long bus trips and stuff like that on a consistent basis. So for me, a lot of learning went on in my years of GVC. I met a lot of great people that I still talk to very regularly now, but a lot of learning and maturing happened for me then with all those things.
And then you made the jump to the Pacific Junior Hockey League, the PJHL, joining the Richmond Sockeyes. What stuck out about the PJHL to you when you were sort of figuring out what you wanted to do next?
So when I was originally kind of looking at my next steps, I had received a text from Will Kump, the Richmond Sockeyes general manager, and his team really stuck out to me in a way. It was during that COVID year, you had a lot of guys that couldn't go play on different teams with things going on. And so the Sockeyes had a very, very strong team. And a lot of them had been at GVC on an older team than I was the previous year. So I knew there was a lot of very strong talent and a few major names that play major junior, junior A, and other places that come back and been playing on the Sockeyes. So for me at that time, I was still hoping to maybe end up making that jump to major junior and playing for the Giants one day. And so I thought, okay, how can I best get myself ready to play at that caliber of hockey? And so when the Sockeyes reached out to me, I was just blown away by the talent they had and the group that they had. And I thought playing with a caliber that high would be my best option at getting myself ready to make that jump. And so I joined the team, and it was an outstanding team. Again, unfortunately, with COVID, we never really got to play and finish out the year, but just an outstanding group right away. And it stuck with me, just the caliber and just the way the Sockeyes ownership and the organization kind of handles things and runs their program just stuck out to me so much.
As the years continued to go on, you made mention you stayed with the Sockeyes throughout the rest of your junior hockey career. What was it about this organization that, helped you make the decision that, okay, I just want to stay here the rest of my time?
So I think the Sockeyes are obviously a very cultured organization. They've been along for so long, but it's really, I look at it from the top to the bottom, from our ownership to our management, our coaching staff, down to our players. Like it really is a family-based organization. This isn't a, distant relationship between a player to either the owner or a management person or the coach. It's a family, it's a unit there. Everybody works together to build that top team and try and ultimately push for that ultimate goal. And just, the way that they operate, our owner, Doug Patterson, always talks about the seven C's and just the way we operate our organization. And that just really stuck out to me and showed me the morals and things like that that this organization operates in, and really stuck out to me that I want to be a part of that.
You knew that heading into last year, it was your last season of junior hockey, and obviously you wanted to make it special, and you wanted it to be a special experience for yourself. When you were told that you were going to be the next captain of the Richmond Sockeyes franchise, what was that moment like?
I was elated, to say the least. I mean, you look back at the captains that have kind of worn the sea for the Richmond Sockeyes over the years, and it's an extremely talented and list of people, and on and off the ice. I mean, there's some great people that have worn the sea, and so it's always kind of been a goal for me. I've been captains of other teams previously throughout my career, and it's something I really try and pride myself on and focus on and make sure I'm always being a leader and being a person like that in the room, whether or not I'm wearing a letter or not. So it's always something I strive to kind of be in the room as a leadership person. And so to be able to have the opportunity to wear the A and be an assistant captain the year before, and then kind of realize that that door might be opening and I could try and work towards moving up to maybe being the captain my last year here. When that opportunity came to me and I was presented with the captaincy, I was just over the moon and super excited to try and be my best version of myself.
It really was the last ride for you for your junior hockey career last year. And heading into that season, the Sockeyes, as I was talking to Dougie, there weren't the expectations that we would have the season that we had. But as time continued to go on, what was it about that group of guys in that locker room last year that made this team so strong?
I think just the culture that we kind of built within that room last year really pushed us to hit that excellence that we tried to achieve. We had a strong presence of veterans returning back for the previous years, and a lot of guys that were my age and even a year or two younger had been around. The Sockeyes, unfortunately, for the last few years when I was there. The first couple of years of my career, we didn't make it out of the first round of the playoffs, and that was a struggle that we had to go through. And us as 20-year-olds last year, and even the 2004 born, 19s, and the 2005 born 17s last year, we had a taste of that, and we went into the year knowing this is our last year there, but also a year that we know we can turn this thing around. And so we went in ready to try and be the best team that we could, and we got lucky enough that the guys we brought in, they really just clicked with us, and they were all on board, and we just constantly pushed ourselves to try and be 1% better every single day and kind of keep that moving on. And we knew if we were just getting better every single day and everyone came in ready to work, we could do some damage in this league.
I asked Dougie this as well, but the playoff run that we had going as far as we did all the way down to game seven, unfortunately things didn't turn out the way that we wanted to. But when you took some time to process in the days following game seven, what were those days like?
They were hard days, to be honest with you. It's hard. You go from such a high all year, and you get as closer and closer to that final goal. You can start to see it more. You start to taste it more. It's right around the corner. So it's hard when you don't achieve it and you get so close to a game seven. It's a rough feeling. It shook all of us, I think. But you try and look at the things that we did, the winning streak, the turning the program around. We feel like we really took that next step in where we wanted to get to. I look at it personally in the success in the room that we built, the culture that we built, the bond we built with not only just the players in that room, but people coming out to the games. I thought our attendance was higher throughout that playoff run. You really saw a lot of fans, especially young kids. They had signs, they had just tremendous support for us. And so I try and look at it and think about all the positives that we did on and off the ice, whether it was on the ice with some wins or off the ice, building that sense of community and kind of hopefully impacting some kids getting to watch some really, really good hockey in Richmond again. And so there were a lot of positives to take away. And I hope that we were able to kind of learn from ultimately not hitting that total, what we wanted to do and be better for it in the future.
The end of a junior hockey career, Matthew, it really, it's really that sort of point where you have to make a decision on what I want to do next. It's like every decision, every step that you take in your career, there's always that choice of what do I want to do next? How did you come to the realization that you were done playing hockey and you weren't gonna further your playing career?
I think for me, going out throughout the year, I knew going into the year that this possibly could be my last year. I was very open-minded to if opportunities arose, I would obviously look at every single option and vet them and see if that was an option for me. But, going in, I was ready and preparing myself that this could be the last time I play a game like this. So I took some time after the end of the year to try and evaluate my options and see what could go on and also evaluate, how I was feeling mentally and physically and all that, because it takes a toll both mentally and physically on you. So I sat down and I just kind of, went through the process of looking at where I am in life and in school and in hockey now and where my body's at. And, at the end of the day, I just decided I went into game 7 knowing this might be my last time playing a game like this. And I decided to just jump into the other side of it and come out with a new experience.
We talk about the end of one path, but the start of another, the end of one journey, the beginning of another. What was behind the decision in you returning to the Richmond Sockeyes and returning in the role that you are now?
I think for me, being a leadership person and someone that I've really enjoyed getting to mentor other younger players and things like that, wearing the C this past year and years previous, I've always loved that feeling of getting to help others and build others up, um, away from the ice, but also on the ice. And, one person I always mention is Teo Lin with the Sockeyes. When he came in, him and I sat next to each other in the room and we just kind of very instantly clicked very quick. And Teo is an outstanding person, an outstanding player. But I always feel like him and I's relationship of just helping each other, on a day-to-day basis and going through really gave me a spark that I loved really getting to think that, I could be a veteran kind of experience showing a guy what to do. And throughout the end of it, I really started coaching more at a younger level with young kids. I've been doing a lot of work with our junior age guys and things like this, and so I just found that having that mentor role and helping others, building other people, coaching other people, however you want to label it, that feeling that it gives me is very similar to the one that I had as a captain and playing in the game. And I just knew that hockey and I weren't done with each other yet, and I need to be a part of hockey somehow. And it's worked out seamlessly so far.
And I'm sure that this was also an incentive as well, coming back to the Sockeye specifically because of the way things ended last year, for you to be a part of something that could potentially, turn into something similar. And obviously, the goal is to rectify what happened at the end of last year. Did that also play a part?
Absolutely. I definitely have a strong feeling that there's some unfinished business still to be taken care of. But, again, I think the Sockeyes organization, the way it's run from owners to management to coaches, everything like that, I find just, the way that they handle things and the way I look at things, we kind of just align very well. And I have a lot of respect for everyone at the Richmond Sockeyes and the way it's operated. So it's, looking at who I want to be around with and who I want to work with and how I want to operate myself. The Sockeyes, we align ourselves very well, I think. So it's really the place that I thought this is where I really want to help and be a part of.
Matthew, the way you carry yourself, I mean, I saw it. I came in through halfway last year, and after every single game, there were always kids waiting at the penalty box asking for your autograph, asking to take pictures with you. And the person that you are, it doesn't happen without, very important people in your life who are constantly motivating you, pushing you every day to be the best version of yourself. I know there's probably a lot of people that come to mind, but if you were to have a select few people that play that role in your life, who would you describe them as?
I've been blessed with everyone around me, my whole life. A lot of people have made an impact on me for sure. But, I have my mom and my two sisters are my rocks. They really kind of have helped me blossom into the person I am now. I really can't say enough positive things about my mom, especially, but my two sisters as well. They drive me, my mom always has a saying, be humble and be kind. And I just think those two words really kind of emulate with me. And I try my best to always be humble and be kind. And, I always thought she instilled in me with hockey, it's not about myself, it's about the game and what I can give back to the game and the people within it. And so, being able to have those kids and that connection for me was what it was all about. Whatever I did on the ice was awesome to help my team win and also to help with kids and hopefully inspire others to try and be better versions of themselves. So, my mom is a massive part of that and a massive part of who I am and why I am the way I am. And my two sisters too, they truly make me who I am.
As your playing career has now come to an end, Matthew, when you reflect upon the time that you spent on the ice, from that very first time you put on a pair of skates till the last time you walked on the ice, what would you say are some lessons that you've learned about yourself?
There's been countless. I think work ethic and determination are two that really kind of stick out to me. Hockey has taught me so many things, but it really shows me just, how if you can be determined to something, if you can set your mind on something and follow a process and really just dig your boots into the ground and work hard at it, you'll see results, you'll see things happen, whether it's a winning a game or even just, you're playing well enough and you end up with a new opportunity at the end of the year. If things get rewarded to you, and I always think you don't win a game on Thursday night just because you decided to be good on that Thursday. You win the game on Thursday night because you won Monday's battles, you won Tuesdays, you won Wednesdays. That all compounds and builds into Thursday, and that's when you end up winning that game Thursday night. So hockey has taught me countless of lessons, but the two main ones would be just a work ethic and just being determined to something.
Matthew, I appreciate you so much for taking the time to join me here on the show today. It's been a pleasure and a blessing to have gotten to know you over the last year, and I'm very much looking forward to having you on our broadcast during the intermissions this year as well, because we'll have plenty to talk about.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
That is Matthew Stewart, former captain of the Richmond Sockeyes, which is still weird to say former because it feels like just a few months ago that we were right there on the ice. However, I'm very glad that Matthew will be back with the Richmond Sockeyes this upcoming year, and we'll sure to have him on the show once again, maybe mid-season, seeing how things go. But if you like this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you on the next one.